So the next graph or chart that we're going to look at are called line charts. They are very, very similar to scatter plots. In fact, they are scatter plots, but what we do is we interconnect each of the points or markers with line segments. We should only ever use line charts when the x-axis is ordered in some meaningful fashion. That's important. I'm going to repeat it again. Only ever use line charts, connect lines between the scatter points, when the x-axis is ordered in some fashion. So if we go back to the last video where we just did scatter plots and we tried to connect the markers with line segments, it would make no sense whatsoever. Here, the x-axis has to be ordered in some fashion to make a line chart. The most popular and most prevalent is time series data, which is we are recording data at usually equal intervals. Like, for example, the share price close at the close of a day for a particular stock. And so we will connect those dots or markers with a line segment because going through time is meaningful. So we want to see how the stock price for that particular company is reacting or is going throughout time. So we'll again use line charts a lot in later units when we look at time series. So let's take a quick look at one. Out on Blackboard we have under materials unit 2 quarterly data. So I'm going to download that and we'll open that up and see what it looks like. Alright, so this looks like it's going to be, we have 5 years worth of data and quarters, right, for each year. So the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter for year 1. And then sales, maybe it's units, maybe it's in millions, maybe it's in thousands. I didn't specify when I generated this data set. So many times we will also include something like a time period index. So we might do something like insert a row and do time period, if I could type today, index, and that's just a counter, right? So it should go from 1 to 20, which it does, because we have 5 years of quarterly data. And then we might go ahead and insert. So we're going to do insert scatter, but this time connect it with a line like that. And notice the x-axis is going to be the time period index, the sales is going to be the y, and we do something like that. And then I would probably get rid of the grid lines, right? We might also zoom in on the y-axis. Maybe 80. Does that do okay for me? A little too much. Let's try 75. Right. Notice when I zoom in on the time, it looks much more up and down and variable. If I go back to 0, if I reset it, all right, then it looks not as volatile. And we'll learn more about what kind of patterns we're going to look for in time series in the following units. Right. So again, we could connect the markers, the dots, with line segments because we are doing time. So we should probably go ahead and add a chart element, axis title, horizontal, and we'll call this time period index. All right. And then call this sales over time. And then maybe add a y-axis. And, oops, I don't want to do that. I want to call this sales. And then I'm also a lot of times like to make it pretty by doing rounded corners. That's historical why I do that. So there we go. We have a nice little time series line chart, and we'll again look at those in much later units.